story yesterday about a grandfather and a grandson go to a ski hill, and the grandfather says, you climb the hill first before I'm going to buy you a lift ticket. And from the grandfather's perspective, this is like a lesson in working hard and perhaps building character and earning or having that reward. Hard work equals reward. How, from the kid's perspective, it's more like, grandpa's just kind of an asshole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think sometimes as parents, we get caught up in that on one hand, it's our job to build our kids into these productive, well-adjusted, kind people who are going to be a positive force in the world and in the people that they impact in their lives. And there's sometimes just, it's never easy to really understand what the path is to get there. But I guess, I'm just curious. Like, you talked about just wanting to encourage them, and how do you think that this journey has affected your parenting, or how you view your role as a parent? And maybe not even just this journey, but just where are you at today in your role as, father, stepfather, and what we're really here to do as parents together? What's the goal?
Oh man, that's loaded. She knows she's got me behind a camera. She can ask me the hard questions. Yeah, parenting's tough. And I think parenting has never been harder. And I think I've talked with a lot of people on this show who I haven't even necessarily agreed with. We've gotten onto the parenting conversations, right? Especially, I struggle, I think, when I hear parenting tips from non-parents. I really struggle with that one, because I think we had a conversation the other day, and the conversation was, babe, like, I don't think you can really understand parenting unless you are a parent. And I didn't understand that. I thought I knew, and I was completely wrong. Right? Like, but you don't know. You think as a non-parent that but trust me, something happens when it's your kid and you have a kid. It changes you in a way that you could have just never seen. And you hear people like me, parents, telling you this, and you're like, bullshit. I know it all. I got it all figured. I got nephews, I got nieces, whatever. But trust me, until you are a parent, you can't truly understand parenting. I'm sorry. But the other side to this, and let's kind of get into encouragement for the future. Like, think about it from the past. There was a time when your kids were going to do exactly what you do. You were a farmer. Your kids were going to farm. Guess what? Not only were they going to farm, they were going to farm using the exact same tools and equipment that you did, because technology evolved that slowly. That was a different world, and a different type of parenting was involved. And making your kid walk up that snow hill to build character made sense, because you had to walk up that snow hill to build character, right? It was like when our parents said, I walked to school both ways uphill, right? And I think for me, I've struggled with it, babe, because my parents are literally boomers, right? Like, my parents' were like old. Like, my dad's dad was born in 1901, and my mom's parents were born in, like, the 1910s, 1911s, right? Like, my grandfather was enlisted for World War II. So I think on a certain level, the growing up experience that I got was one from a different time. It wasn't like a 70s parent. It was a 50s and 60s parent on both sides, like my dad and my mom. So for me, I think being taught how to work hard, being taught that, honesty and honorability is important. Being someone people can trust is important. Your word is important. Your hard work and your effort is important. And nothing comes without hard work and effort was really instilled to me as a young kid. And I think where I maybe struggle with that now with our boys is that the world that they are going to have to do this in, to start their own podcasts or whatever it is 20 years from today, right, is going to be a world that me and you can't even see right now. But it is going to be that different. And it's not going to be our podcast. It'll be, God knows, a virtual holocast. We can't prepare them for that future. And I
Mm,
think that's where I struggle as a parent today. And I've talked
mm,
about it multiple times. And I don't know. I think maybe just encouraging them to ultimately keep trying new things. Don't be afraid. Obviously, we talk about this with Fortnite. Our oldest son, he loves Fortnite, and we struggle immensely with it because I feel like it's a gigantic waste of time. But he thinks one day he'll be a YouTuber, and who knows? Maybe he will, right? Like,
mhm,
who are we to know?
mhm, mhm,
But right now, it's like, God, I wish he would just learn some skills that aren't Fortnite.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And find other ways of experiencing confidence. And
Yeah,
yeah, that I think that's been such a big piece has been where he finds a sense of perhaps freedom and expression, but also confidence in himself and his ability. I think a lot of the answer was actually in your answer, where when we focus on the principles and the values as opposed to the how, like as opposed to the what, like what we're talking about, like focusing on something like integrity and honesty, being somebody that others can rely on, being somebody who is authentic and expresses themselves authentically, that maybe it's really the best thing that we could do for them is to focus on modeling values like that, and that probably most of the time we're doing most of our parenting when we don't mean to be, and that it sort of happens by accident, that as much as you want to be intentional and find all of the intentional lessons and find those teachable moments, they're probably doing most of their learning when we're not paying attention, when we're
yeah.
just being who we are and showing them the way as opposed to getting on a soapbox and telling them the way.